After returning from the desert, the only thing I did to this bike is I hosed it off with a power washer, and then I just greased the chain just a tiny bit so it won't rust. I did nothing to the bike other than letting it sit around for almost 4 weeks. So today is gonna be the day where we are gonna do the damage assessment on the bike. And I know it's not that far of a trip, it's not a round the world trip, but at least we might see some indicators where parts start failing and also what's done properly on the bike, what's greased properly and what not. So today we are gonna do a full service on this bike, basically something I would do on any bike after returning from a longer trip. And if you want to find out what broke during that trip, then stick around and we're gonna find out. Now the bash plate that has definitely taken some hits. It also cracked a bit here, but it's nothing major. Now this here was the leaking part, which I smeared completely with Dirco, so that's also why there is some sand glued to it. Yeah, it seems to be dry. And here's the part I isolated because I snapped it off when I dropped it, so that's why I had to close off the rear tank. Wash and dry bike, check. Sprockets are still in a pretty good condition. Also the chain. Who torqued that down? Oh, that was me. And then let's check the last. And this one is also smooth like butter. There's actually quite a bit of dust that got into these cush hubs. Now while we are in here, I want to remove these bolts and just grease them a bit. There's already some corrosion going on here. So that's probably last minute. Use some ceramic paste on it. There is a tiny bit of up and down play. Side to side, there is none. But anyway, we're gonna take out the linkage and I wanna check if these bearings are greased properly, which usually on some bikes they aren't. So let's check that out. There's already some tiny marks here. I don't think it's anything you can feel, it's just visually. Nice, pretty good. And now on our fork we have this handy dandy little tool here. Actually I don't see any sand or dust or something in it. It's pretty hard to see, but you see like little scratches. It's just wear marks, and that's what I mentioned about the fork bushings being trash. It's just a minor surface issue, so I don't think it's going to be any problem at all. And also it didn't change for the worsen after the fork rebuild, but that's definitely something to watch out. I cannot feel any movement in the steering stem while moving it back and forth. There's no clicking or anything in here. That's a pretty good sign. We're going to replace these ventilation bolts, and now we can release the air of our fork really easily. It's just important that the front wheel is always off the ground. Nice! Then let's go to steering dampener, handlebar and so on. There we go. We need actually some washers beneath the damper because otherwise it will hit the head bolt here. Engine is set to top dead center now. That's actually the part that I'm most curious about. So exhaust valve, we are going to start with a 0.2 millimeter. That doesn't fit. So we are going to 0.15. I'm already feeling this is not what it's supposed to be. Yo, so this is going to be a little bit of a mess, because if the valve clearances aren't right, and they should be 0.15 to 0.2 on the exhaust and 0.1 on the intake, and if that's not adding up, I need to order new buckets, because they don't use shims, they use entire buckets. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but I kind of was expecting that a little bit, so let's see what we're gonna do. Okay, it's just one cam chain tensioner. I'm gonna put some markings on it so I don't have to fiddle around too much with it. So there's a pattern how you loosen them, and that's gonna be one. Yeah, fortunately it's like a really good quality shot. Oh, Kove guys, what kind of tools are you using, man? Now I'm really curious if we're gonna see some KTM cam syndrome, or if they're gonna look fine. They CNC'd some oil passages in here. That's quite clever. And the cams. Okay, I guess we need to remove both cams, but at least we can then check them out. And now the precious pieces, we get the buckets. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, there's no shim in it. It's actually really the bucket itself. So that's a 250. And on the right we do have a 245. So now let's take a quick glance in here on the cam journals. They are still looking pretty nice. And then we also have the cams here. It seems that they are not facing the KTM chocolate camshaft kind of issues. There is some visual scoring to it, but that's pretty normal. Just from the looks of it, they seem to be holding up pretty nice. And then the cam journals here, perfectly fine. So that's Project Kove for now. We're just gonna set it aside. I'm gonna call a dealer as soon as possible. So with that math done, I would need a 240 bucket instead of the 245. And the 240 is actually the lowest size you can get. So I'm not really sure why I'm at the lower end of the spectrum here, why that's already done from factory, so there is not too much room for adjustment. If you have a Kove and you already did the valve checks, or maybe also had to adjust valves, then please let me know if you know your bucket sizes, if they're also on the same end of the spectrum, or if they're kind of different. And in the next video, once we got that bucket situation figured out, I want to do some more checks on the engine and see if there's something loose on the clutch side, on the stator side, or if there's anything else hiding in front of our eyes. So until then, I'm gonna wish you a good time, and we'll see us in the next one. Peace.